Hey guys, thanks for watching Everyday Ready. Joel here. Today is all about knives. So I have just a small handful of the knives that I personally own, and they're all different types of, sizes and shapes and various uses and things like that. And I just thought maybe it would be helpful to give people an idea of what is out there and what types of uses you might find for these different types of knives based on serrated blades versus straight blades versus just the size of these. Some of them are have features like seatbelt cutters. Some of there's just a whole bunch of different things. Hopefully this will help you guys kind of narrow down what you might personally want. So I am going to start out with the Swiss Army Champ. So this knife has been in my collection since I was a young boy, and probably 10 years old, 12 years old, and these run about $80 now if you want to get these guys. And it's basically like early multi-tool, right? Like, now the multi-tools are all built around big pliers, where this guy had just this little tiny pliers here, but I can't tell you how many times it's come in handy and useful. There's all kinds of stuff on here. Little magnifying glass. It's not really so that you can see bugs any better. You could actually focus a sunbeam and start a fire with that. And of course there's various pocket knives on there. Usually straight blades on these, but they also have ones with serrations. This particular one just has a completely separate little wood saw attached to it. That would be a good option maybe for somebody just wanting something to throw into a get home pack. It's too big really and heavy to kind of carry daily in your pocket. This is going to be something you're going to throw in a pack and just have with you just in case. So that's the first one. The second thing that I want to talk about, and I'm not covering these in any particular order, I'm literally just picking them off the table and going. Second one I want to talk about is called the Boker Plus Cop Tool. Now this one comes with a sheath with a belt clip attached to it, which is nice. So a couple of neat things. Number one, it's got some paracord here. Good maybe in a survival situation if you happen to need some paracord for some particular reason. But these run in that. I didn't look up the exact prices. The Swiss Army Champ I said was about 80 bucks. I believe that this Boker Plus Cop Tool is in that $50 to $80 range. Cop tool, because the thought is, cop might come up on the scene of an accident or something like that, need to cut a seatbelt with this seatbelt cutter and get somebody out of their car. It's got a window punch, maybe somebody's trapped in their vehicle and they've got to punch out the window. It's got things like that. It's very thick and shaped like a pry bar, so you can pry things open. It doesn't have a standard straight cutting blade other than down here on the end, which is kind of like a chisel. You wouldn't be able to cut anything very efficiently with that. It's just shaped in the wrong way. But again, it's a tool, right? It's a tool, and you can choose what would be good use for that or not. Again, I carry this one in my car just for whatever purpose I might need it for. So that's a good option. And then we've got more along the lines of personal defense knives. So now this one right here is made by Kabar, and this is called the TDI Law Enforcement Knife. I used to carry this when I was a cop. I used to carry it on my duty belt, kind of off my side of my belt. My gun was on my right-hand side. Taser was usually on the left-hand side over here. Magazine pouch, and then I would put this right in behind my magazine pouch. The thought of a knife like this is if somebody has got a hold of your firearm, and so this is going to be on your belt like this, right? So I would grab this knife like this and pull it out, and somebody's trying to grab my firearm, so I've got my hand on top of their hand, keeping my firearm from coming out of my holster. You might grab a knife like this, reach across, and start cutting their wrists or stabbing in this sort of a way to keep them from trying to disarm you and take your firearm. So this is not only for law enforcement. I'm sure you could find a personal defense use for it, but that is the reason that it was made, and it's a very, very nice little personal defense type of knife, and I want to say these are in that $30 to $40 range. Now on to like more of the daily carry kind of a knife. Here I've got a Microtech LUDT. This is a lightweight assisted opener, you know, spring assisted, so you have to check your local ordinances to find out if you're even allowed to have these. Here in Missouri, we're free for the most part, and we can have kind of what we want. So these spring assisted knives are not illegal. This is a daily carry for me. It's on my pocket. The reason that I like it are twofold. Number one, it carries deep into my pocket. I really like that. Number two, if I'm going to depend my life on it, I want something high quality. Microtech is one of the nicest, you know, folding everyday carry type knives out there on the market. Extremely sharp, of course. I also like something that saves me time, and it's just a quick push button, as opposed to trying to open a folding knife with two hands. I can just simply push the button and this thing comes whipping out like that. Another thing that I like is personal defense knives. You don't usually, I mean, most people everyday carry a knife and they're going to open letters with it, they're going to cut some rope, they're going to cut open a box. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I'm one of those guys that says you should not be cutting paper and boxes and rope with your people cutting knife. And I know that sounds horrible, but this is, you know, along the same veins as me carrying a gun. If I'm pulling this knife, I'm using it on a person. And one of the things that I really like is the shape of this blade. This curved part of the knife is called the belly, and this Microtech is almost all belly. And the reason for that is the thought that you're going to be doing a lot of slashing motions like this. It's, you know, you see it in the movies, people, and I don't have a ton of knife fighting training, I'll just throw that out there. But, you know, you see it in the movies a lot, that guys are all like, you know, they'll just slash and whip these things around and try to stab people, basically across a midsection. Well, those aren't the best targets, right? Neck is a good target, wrists are good targets, inside of legs, where the major veins are good targets. So, because you're trying to incapacitate, stop the threat as quick as possible. It's no different than your same reasoning for defending yourself with a firearm. You're trying to stop the threat from hurting you as quick as possible. The way to do that with a knife is not to try to cut through a bunch of clothing and things like that. It's to try to cut veins, right? And a good belly on a knife like this, when a person is trying to grab you or punch at you or something like that, or swing a weapon at you, is to practice and work on timing that to where when that punch or that swing or whatever comes in, you're whipping the knife across their path with this belly and cutting the vein of an arm. Or you can drop down to a knee. You know, if a person's coming in with a punch, you drop down to a knee and you stab this into a leg and then rip it across the inside curve of their thigh, trying to cut that major artery in the leg. So I like a good belly on a knife for that. I don't want to get too graphic on you guys any more than I already did, but that makes for a good personal defense knife, and that is my everyday carry, the Microtech. So now moving on to more of a bushcraft knife. This is, you're going to be in the woods, you're going to be camping, you want something that you can, you know, help you to chop wood, that you can, you know, build structures and things like that with. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is this big old boy here, and this is made by Tops Knives, and this is a tracker knife. It's a Tom Brown tracker, so it comes with this sheath, which I like. You can put it on the belt and the small of your back, and then of course you just have to reach around behind you and pull it out. But the shape of this knife is fairly iconic, and most knife folks recognize this kind of a guy right away. There's a popular movie that this is used in with Tommy Lee Jones, and I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but it's got Benicio del Toro and Tommy Lee Jones in it, and Tommy Lee Jones is like this survival expert, and you know, he's pitted against Benicio del Toro, and the knife that they both kind of create in that movie for fighting each other and also surviving in the woods is this knife. And it's a very popular outdoorsman style knife. You can see the shape is completely different. Now it's got a big round belly, again, for those sweeping chops, like if you have to use it for fighting. You've also got a nice straight edge here to use. You know, you put it down in the top of a log, and then you take another log and smack down on top of it, and you can split wood. You know, you've got a little bit of a saw up here that you can use for cutting. You can use for cutting wire or just about anything you'd like. But good, heavy duty, you know, you can depend your life on this in the woods kind of a knife. This is the most expensive one I have at about $450. And that's a good option. Camping, outdoors, survival, that sort of thing. And I saved, you know, kind of the most shocking knife for last, and that is the Morakniv. Now, a lot of people in the outdoor industry will recognize that brand right away. Morakniv has been around for a good long time. Comes with a nice, you know, composite sheath, and it just looks like a kitchen knife almost. You know, nice straight blade, carbon steel blade, very sharp, very durable, rubberized grip with a, you know, oversized, so you can really get a good hand on it. I love these. These knives make excellent bushcraft knives, almost indestructible. They'll serve you for a lifetime, and they cost about $20. So Morakniv is a very, very solid option for a bushcraft knife. You can put it on your belt or strap it to a pack, just about anything you might need in the woods. And if you happen to lose it, you're not heartbroken because it was $20, right? And you'll just go pick up another one. So this knife, if I had to choose one knife in the woods for survival out of all of these, I'd choose the Tom Brown Tracker, of course, because it's just awesome. But very second close choice would be the Morakniv. Now this is always with me in my camping pack. It's what I carry all the time in there. I carry this one on my hip, and I carry this one in my bag just as a backup. With all that being said, guys, I hope that gives you just a little bit more education or details on different types of knives that you might want to carry for different types of situations. We got price ranges from 20 bucks all the way up to 450 and everything in between. Some for personal defense, some for everyday carry, some for just sheer utility. But nonetheless, all of them are for the adventures you choose and the emergencies you don't. Thanks for watching today, guys.